BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
We've got musicians, basketball players, rappers, every genre of famous people you can imagine are here. We are stuck in the press pen and we're going to see who we can talk to.
It's a balmy summer evening in West London and I'm at what might be the biggest celebrity drink launch of the year. A new, ready-to-drink cocktail range from the rappers Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. You're listening to the Food Programme with me, Jaega, and I'm on a mission to find out why celebrity-branded drinks are everywhere.
We've got Shaquille O'Neal coming. Goodness, he's tall. I'm going to have to get a picture.
Okay.
Can I ask you a quick question? You've previously released a line of sodas in the past. Would you foray into the drinks industry again?
Well, I'm with Pepsi and Starry, so Starry is part of my drink. I don't drink. Yeah, I don't drink.
Thank you very much. Where does he get his trousers made? They're huge. So that was Shaquille O'Neal, and he already has several drinks brand sponsorships, which I can imagine a lot of the super famous people here today will. If you were to release your own drinks, what would it be?
I already know this. I love me I like a hard seltzer, like a vodka, soda, lime.
Nice.
Low in calories, no guilt-free, hydration at the same time.
Lots of musicians and drinks brands seem to make great partnerships.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, because we know how to bring a party, that's what we do for a living. We perform, we like to bring everyone together, and music and alcohol is a great combination.
Thank you so much, Emma.
Don't have to drink though. Don't have to.
Yep. That was Ella Eyre, musician. If you were to release your own brand, what would it be, your own drinks brand?
That's confidential. Family secret. Family secret.
Are we going to be seeing it anytime soon?
We'll see. We'll see. But it's interesting that you said that because that's come up. It's a non-alcoholic beverage. Yeah. So there's some things in the work. How do you guys know this stuff?
And that was Yasiin Bey, formerly known as Mos Def, incredible US rapper. Hi, Yungblud.
Can we ask you something quick?
Can I ask you a question? You're actually drinking the gin and juice. What do you think of it?
I love it. I've drunk this for 4 weeks now.
Oh,
I was into it when we were doing the tasting. It's great.
Strands, can we ask a question? My name's Jaega. We're from the BBC. Quick question. If you were to release your own drinks brand, what would it be?
I feel like we need more certified drinks that are not alcohol based, you know what I'm saying? Just something smooth, so maybe a bit of mango in there, guava, everything tropical, like some pineapple, something like that.
So many famous people, especially musicians, are pairing up with drinks companies to produce their own brand. I mean, do you have a thought on that? Is that something you want to do in your career?
Yeah, that's definitely something I'll be up for, man. I feel like drinks, this industry and drinks is hand in hand, innit? It's what you do every event, every studio session, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like it makes sense, innit? One day when the right person hits me up, you know what I'm saying, then it's go time.
We'll wait for that person.
Yeah.
Trans, thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Patrick Halbert, CEO, Gin and Juice. We have 4 flavors. It was a wonderful creation in partnership with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and with our group. We had a great time creating with all natural ingredients, fresh juice, 3 grams of sugar, real light, easy to drink.
Tell me about the sales plan for it. You guys have in quite a few stores in the UK already.
We already have 1,000 stores. Whole Foods just placed an order. We are underway. We have 15,000 retailers in the United States in the last 4 months. So it's been an exciting launch and huge. We're excited.
And what's your hopes for the brand?
We want everyone to, gravitate to it and experience and appreciate the authenticity that is Dre and Snoop. This is a tribute to everyone that appreciates their music and their life and just really experience the beauty and the nature and authenticity of the brand.
So talk to me about the gin itself and the juice itself. I mean, what's the quality of the gin? What's the quality of the juice that goes into the drink?
We created our own gin back in the United States. It is got 17 botanicals, orange blossom, tangerine. It's citrus forward. It's very nice, easy to drink. So we're kind of trying to let the consumer experience a different, more contemporary style in gin. So we utilize that. We're using real fresh fruit juices to make sure that everyone appreciates the quality and experience of the product itself, too.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Celebrity branded drinks are growing rapidly, but celebrity branding itself is nothing new. In the 1700s, Josiah Wedgwood used royal endorsements to attach the celebrity sparkle of royalty to his chinaware. In 1811, Napoleon Bonaparte visited the Courvoisier warehouses and later took several barrels of the cognac with him to St. Helena, earning it the name the Cognac of Napoleon. In 1882, socialite and actress Lily Langtry became the poster girl for Pears soap, making her the first celebrity to endorse a commercial product. By the 1930s, American baseball player Babe Ruth had attached his name to the Red Rock Cola brand. In 1975, Francis Ford Coppola had bought his first vineyard. By the late 1990s, the first celebrity-owned tequila had appeared on the American market, marking a difference with the advertising partnerships and endorsements that had come before. But today, many branded drinks remain more akin to endorsements, with celebrities given a small stake in the brand so they can be classified as owners. Since 2013, with the arrival of George Clooney's Casamigos tequila, celebrity spirits have grown exponentially, particularly after Clooney cashed out in 2017. More on that later. These arrangements benefit not only the star name involved, but also the drinks producer through celebrity association and access to new markets. One of the best known celebrity brands is the Armand de Brignac champagne, nicknamed the Ace of Spades. In 2021, its owner Jay-Z sold a 50% stake to luxury brand LVMH for an undisclosed sum. The brand was created and later sold to Jay-Z by Sovereign Brands' Brett Berish. He's a man who understands the power of celebrity, having worked with the likes of Rick Ross, DJ Khaled and Wiz Khalifa to promote his brands.
Advertising is a form of, and with celebrities, is a form of working with somebody. You know, you go back to Sidney Crawford and Pepsi. You know, that's working with a celebrity. So it's been around for ages. You know, nothing's changed. I think celebrities can add a tremendous amount of value, but at the end of the day, it's the product. It's the product. It's the product of the product. If it doesn't taste good, no matter who the celebrity is, they're not going to support it. If it doesn't look good, no matter who the celebrity is, consumers won't pick it up. If it doesn't have authenticity, they're not going to pick it up. I don't care who the celebrity is. Celebrity needs to be all in. They have to assume the worst, and therefore, what are you going to do? Assume the worst. But what happens with celebrities is they assume that anything they touch is going to turn gold, but that's just not the case.
How does the celebrity endorsement, how does that work within the brand building exercise?
I learned a long time ago, you know, it's like getting married. You got to build a relationship. And I think the problem with celebrity, quote, working with celebrities is you don't know them and they don't know you. And you jump into this relationship and you don't know each other. And what I realized is I want to know the people. I want to know that there's a genuine interest in my brands. I want to know that they really do care. So if I use, you know, a big name celebrity like Rick Ross or DJ Khaled, this is 10, 15-year relationships. I don't want them to end. So if I use all the famous people that I've worked with, whether it's Wiz or Ross or Wayne or Khaled or Jay, what they all have in common is I didn't know them. I didn't approach them. They knew the brands and loved the brands, and that's how I met them.
Do you think there's a certain amount of cynicism from the drinks industry and to a certain extent the consumer with a drinks product when a celebrity has endorsed it?
I don't think so. I think when they can see through it and see it's not real and see that they're, you know, I could name you artist after artist or celebrity after celebrity who they're involved in brands, but you don't see it. And a consumer's not dumb. They know when it's real and when it's not. They know, you know, when it's authentic and when it's not. And the beauty is, you know, I want people who are out there, who want to be seen. You know, I look at my brands as they're a trophy. You're picking up they're not cheap. You're picking up these bottles and you're going to hold them in a picture because you're taking a picture with it because the brand means something. That's who I want, is they're picking up that because I did something, I achieved something, I created something. I'm a self-made somebody in sports and music, entertainment, business, doesn't matter what it is. My brands mean that, and I want people to pick it up, and you see through that. I will not launch a brand unless I think once you taste it, your reaction, especially if you don't drink that category, is, wow, this is different. Oh, I like this. I won't launch it. But at the end of the day, what a great brand is, it means more than just, what's inside. It represents who you are, it represents something about you. It tells you a story about who you are.
What about tequila? Do you think the celebrity tequila market is saturated? I've noticed you don't have one in your portfolio.
Oh, we will. And there's a time and a place for it. It'll happen. That category would be the one category I would say, and this is what happens. There's this herd mentality. Like, you saw what happened to Casamigos and George Clooney as an example. And then every celebrity in the world wants to jump in and have a brand. And again, it's not how it works. The key is you got to love it, because you're in it for a quick buck. I don't think 99%. It's like restaurants. What do they say about the restaurant industry? 99% of them probably fail.
And Brett, my final question to you. What do you think the goal of a celebrity is when they choose to produce a drinks brand? Do you think it is about the love of the drink to a certain extent, or do you think it's all about, let's sell this brand to a conglomerate?
I think at the end of the day, everyone's financially driven. I do. I think everyone's financially driven. So that plays a huge role in this. And I would say 90% of the celebrities want to get into it or anything because there's a payoff angle. I think the key is, if you're looking for somebody, find that authentic person who just loves the brand, loves it, lives it. That's the key. That's the key to a healthy relationship. You got to be all in. It's no different than marriage. You got to you're committed to this person and you're all in, you're going to do everything you can for them and you're going to be there and do everything, or you're not committed. And you got to be all in, because to me, that's what I want. I want long lasting relationships that feel good and we're all happy. And you got to live it.
Brett Berish. In 2018, there were fewer than 40 celebrity-affiliated alcohol brands. By 2022, that number had leapt to more than 350. A few years ago, Aaron Goldfarb, a spirits journalist, did his best to rank every celeb spirit on the market. Filling up his cup with more than a splash of cynicism, Aaron guided me through the winners and losers on that list.
I think it was around 2021. Everyone started noticing there were tons of celebrity spirits out there, and I decided to really go overboard and see if I could do a full ranking of every single one out there. And at the time, I think there were 63. There must be well over 100 these days.
Who came out on top and who was unfortunately at the bottom of the list?
Yeah, well, you sometimes don't want to give too much credit to a celebrity spirit that might taste good, but you kind of feel like it's a pathetic cash grab. So I kind of leaned in on that in some ways. I ranked the number one Sweeten's Cove, which is a bourbon supposedly produced by American quarterback Peyton Manning and semi-famous tennis player Andy Roddick, who I'm not sure how much whiskey they drink, but they bottled a very good whiskey. On the other end of things, there were a lot of bad tequilas produced by people clearly in it to make a buck. You'd have to question whether they actually drank it. Kendall Jenner, her 818 tequila, I think she was about 21 at the time when it came out. And then Elon Musk had his Tesla tequila, which was a $200 bottle in a shape of a lightning bolt that couldn't even stand upright itself. It needed a special holder to stand upright. And, that was in typical Elon Musk fashion, a sort of drinkable meme to sell to his fanboys. I've tasted all, if not most, of the ones I ranked, and some are quite good. Another dirty secret of the booze industry is if you have the money and the power and the connections, you can go down to Kentucky and get some bourbon that's quite good. You can go down to Mexico and buy some tequila that's quite good. So a lot of these celebrity spirits are at the least, pretty solid.
Why do you think there has been this rise in celebrity spirits? It feels like it's been fairly recent.
Yeah, to a certain extent, it has. I mean, celebrities have had a love affair with at least tequila. You could go all the way back to Prohibition when celebrities would cross the border from California into Tijuana to, go to nightclubs and drink tequila. And that's really when the celebrity love affair with tequila starts. Sammy Hagar introduces arguably the first celebrity spirit to America in the late 90s with his Cabo Wabo, which was a pretty good tequila for the time. But George Clooney really kicked it into a new gear in 2013, I believe, with his Casamigos. And then when he sells that for $1 billion in 2017 to the conglomerate Diageo, I think a lot of other celebrities start seeing, dollar signs in their eyes and how hard am I going to have to work to cash out. But a lot of these other celebrities haven't banked on the fact that they're no George Clooney. They're not as famous. They're not as handsome. They're not as cool. And they're not as believable as someone who, relaxes in an agave field drinking tequila like we see George on the billboards. But, it's worked for lots of celebrities. The Rock's tequila, Terramana's done quite well. LeBron James and Michael Jordan's tequilas do quite well. So there is money to be made. I don't know if there's much money to be made anymore. Certainly not if you're a D-level celebrity producing a not particularly good celebrity spirit. But, it seems like an easy cash grab for a lot of these celebrities, I would think.
How much or how dedicated do you think the celebs are to their spirits brand? Or do you think for some of them it's just a name slap?
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to work your butt off to sell your spirits, whether you're a celebrity or an average Joe. And Ryan Reynolds has been a real genius in integrating aviation into all walks of life. He famously has his own creative studio where he produces commercials for it and whatnot. You look at The Rock, who's a major celebrity too. How easy would it have been for him to slap his name on the bottle? But when he was launching Terramana every single night on Instagram and TikTok, I just finished my workout. Now I'm going to have a shot. The Breaking Bad guys, they have their mezcal, Dos Hombres. It seems like every single night they're at a different bar somewhere in the country pouring it for fans. It's not a great mezcal, but these guys are working so hard, going all around that it's moved up. And I think it's the third best-selling mezcal in America. Other celebrities, slap their name on it and it doesn't sell, whether it's a good or bad product because they're not working hard enough.
Do you think we've reached peak celebrity tequila yet? Or do you think there's more to come?
I mean, I think when I wrote that article, however many years back, I thought we'd reach peak celebrity tequila, but no, I don't. I think we're going to keep seeing it. It's kind of surprising Taylor Swift doesn't have one yet. I'm sure that would do quite well. When she does it, then we might reach the peak.
Aaron Goldfarb. Having a big celebrity name as part of your brand comes with benefits as well as drawbacks. Alex Watson is founder and CEO of Renee Gin, along with his sister Emma. The spirit is born out of the byproducts from their family's wine domain in Chablis.
We create a grape spirit from upcycling all of the grape skins, or the marc, as it's also called, from the winemaking process. And also something called the lees, which is kind of a yeast byproduct that you get from the end of the fermentation process as well. But there's enough sugar left over in the grape skins and within the lees to ferment and distill and create a really interesting, high quality grape spirit, which we then import back to the UK and distill with a collection of other botanicals which are from the region, which are there to kind of replicate some of the tasting notes and experience of Burgundy winemaking.
Okay, and you co-own the company with your sister Emma Watson, right?
Correct. Some people may have heard of her.
Yeah, a few of our listeners may have heard of her. So Emma Watson of Harry Potter fame, of Beauty and the Beast fame, super duper famous Hollywood actress. What role do you think her fame plays with the brand?
There's a big audience of people that you can immediately share a project like this with, which is amazing. On the surface, this is a pretty niche, slightly personal operation, I suppose. And kind of right off the bat, there's a huge community of people that we get to share it with.
Is there any kind of cynicism with regards to the product that comes your way as being part of a brand that has someone as famous as your sister as a co-owner?
Yeah, definitely. That's the con side of it, I suppose. I think there can be connotations that if something has, a celebrity endorsement, is it there to potentially cover up something that's, lower quality, or, is the connection between the famous person in question and the product, authentic and credible? And I think that people have every right to ask those questions. I think people should be skeptical about where things come from and how they're made. And I think that's fine. I think the nice thing for us is that people have probably latched on to the fact that this is something my family's been doing long before Emma was Emma. And it's something that, certainly I've made my career out of for the last decade. So we've been very fortunate to have a very nice time of it within the press, because I think people have felt the authenticity and the story and the history that, I suppose, and the thought that's gone into the product, which is also very innovative. So yeah, we feel very grateful for the response that we've had. There's
lots of examples of products that have just had a famous person's name just slapped on it. They have no involvement in the drink whatsoever. So it's interesting, the fact that this seems to be considerably more than that. It happens to be, this is a family thing, I suppose. It's one of whom happens to be Emma, but it wasn't, I suppose, concocted by an agency or a big strategic drinks company, which has then sought someone out to endorse it. This is something that, like I said, we've been doing for a really long time, and this is me and Emma's attempt to carry forward our legacy in having done that thing for a long time. So I suppose if it comes across that way, that's because it is. Alex Watson. One celebrity who's no stranger to food and drink is Blur bassist Alex James. Known for his range of cheeses, he also has a cider and runs a food and drink festival on his farm in the Cotswolds. More recently, he's put his name to 2 English sparkling wines, named, you guessed it, Britpop. I started by asking him why so many celebrities are launching their own drinks brands today.
It's an easy way to sell something, isn't it? And I think it's quite a nice thought. Your name on a bottle of booze. I've always wanted a bottle of sparkling wine with my name on it more than I wanted a Brit Award with my name on it. Do you know what I mean?
So do you think it's partially a bit of vanity?
Yeah, potentially. But I think in order for anything to work, you've got to kind of be committed to it. I live on a farm surrounded by apple trees, and for one weekend a year, 25,000 people who want to drink. So I just didn't want to kind of mess this up, and the more I do it, the more I like it. I kind of love doing it.
Do you see yourself as quite set apart from the kind of idea of the celebrity drink where people just slap their name onto a contract-made product?
The old brand slap.
Yeah.
I think a brand you kind of need to trust, don't you? So, hopefully I didn't want to I just didn't want to just kind of do a brand slap. I wanted to kind of, this has been kind of like 10 years in the making, finding the right winemaker. Yeah, but I mean, everyone thinks they're different. I mean, I suppose it all stands on like the quality of the product, and and the marketing too, I guess.
Alex, I get the impression from you that you associate food making and drink making with having a good time, with a lot of fun.
People say music and cheese. That's weird, but it's like monks have been doing that for centuries. I think there's something like profoundly satisfying in the same way as kind of making music is like a creative business that you can sort of pour your heart and soul into. And I think that sort of level of devotion that. It's the same with food and wine as well, and they're all things that monks have been doing for centuries.
What would you say to those who would approach a celebrity like yourself releasing a drink like with a healthy dose of cynicism? I mean, what would you say to someone like that, or is there truth in the tasting of the drink?
Yeah, well, as I said, you need a good product, you need a good distribution, you need good marketing support, and to make anything work, you've got to be committed to it. Really, a brand slap can work, but I think really the joy is, I'd rather be a kind of expert than, people in the media tend to fall into two classes, like experts or celebrities. I think, you can't, I think expertise is kind of where the satisfaction lies. And it's been a really kind of wonderful journey, actually, and I think England's on a wonderful journey in terms of winemaking. It's a very exciting time.
Alex James. Someone who understands the appeal of celebrity wines is Hannah Crosby, wine writer and author of Corker. She sat down with producer Robbie Armstrong to talk through a few bottles.
It's very, very rare that celebrities will own their own vineyards. These are very, very busy people. Usually, people are maybe in sort of a certain point in their careers where they don't want to be going out and making all their money in the ways that they used to all the time. And instead, they, want a bit more of a passive income. And for a lot of people, that thing is wine. And usually, these celebs do have an existing passion for wine. And it is a little bit more than, just slapping your face on something. Although in some instances, it kind of is.
Will we start with Gary Barlow's Western Cape Sauvignon Blanc, South African white?
I think we shall. That's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. There's that initial acidity attack, which doesn't last on the palate for me. I think this is definitely one for, if you do like a Sauvignon Blanc, then you're going to get what you want, but maybe don't expect anything too outside of the box. But I don't think that that's what this wine is here to do either.
I think some people might describe this wine as a donut wine because there's that acidity at the start, and then there's a bit of a lull, and then at the end you've got some of the sort of fruit flavours that come, but in the middle there's maybe not too much, which made me think there's not going to be any finish on this wine, but actually there is quite a nice finish, and it's not harsh. It's quite pleasant. It's quite easy drinking.
So as I unwrap the Kylie Fizzy Prosecco Rosé, I actually heard that she went to a German industry wine fair called Provine, and she was there herself, although she's not like crushing the grapes herself. She was actually there handing out samples of the wine to industry people. She seems really, really involved, and I think that there's quite a lot of industry love for her because of that, because people can see it. You can't really fake it. It's a party wine. It's a wine that you enjoy in a limousine. It's not a wine that you pour and stress over. It's a wine that's designed to be drunk.
The bottle is embossed with hundreds of love hearts.
It's cute. So cute.
Yeah.
Right, should I give it a taste? It's not bad, and I think it definitely does meet that moment, when you perhaps are celebrating something, or it's the first bottle you open on a night out. I think that this really fits the bill quite nicely. I think that these two wines that we've tried so far definitely have their place, and I'm pleasantly surprised by.
Which wines do you buy that are celebrity backed?
Oh, good question.
Have you bought in the past?
I bought the Kylie Rosé because I was curious to see if it was good as everyone said it was, and it was. And I have also spent my own money on the Idris Elba champagne, Port Noir, which I'm very excited to try again. It's really good. It's really, really good. I mean, also everything the man touches is cool. This is an expression of one particular vintage. So this is 2013. It's kind of almost like a curry leaf, sort of spicy bitterness.
Yeah, there's definitely some tertiary aromas, so some aromas from the aging process. I get a bit of a mushroom note, but in a very pleasant way. Toast, but sort of a caramelised sort of toasty flavour, like a brioche.
This is quite specialist. This is for someone that is a champagne drinker and perhaps isn't, who isn't a fan of Idris Elba. But, those two things aren't necessarily crossing over. This is for people that enjoy their champagne. I think that, specialty wines are more difficult to find, and I think you'd be more likely to find this in, a specialist bottle shop, or with wines like this where they care so much about the prestige and the brand image. They're really, really selective about which wine lists they're on. I haven't seen Gary Barlow and Kylie on any wine lists yet.
Why should your average consumer care about the growing celebrity drinks market, and why should specialists in the spirits and wine world also pay attention? None
of these people that we've discussed today come from a wine background. They've all gotten into wine via travel or via personal appreciation, much in the same way that all of us do. And their route into wine feels much more authentic and meaningful. And I think that through that, it breaks down a lot of barriers that people might experience when they're trying to get into wine. So if someone who's already a self-proclaimed wine expert is talking to them, and maybe I'm like putting myself out of a job here, but if someone like a self-proclaimed wine expert is talking to them that they can't relate to, and so much about artists and pop music is relatability, they're going to be switched off. And I think that, specialists should pay attention in the same way. If these celebs have found a meaningful way of communicating about wine and alcohol to their consumers in a way that the industry hasn't figured out yet, not to say that they need to take all their pointers, but maybe taking a few, I think it's a really important conversation that needs to be had.
Hannah Crosby. What makes a celeb drinks brand succeed in such a competitive market? And what might the future hold for the category? Jennifer Creevy is Director of Food and Drink at WGSN, a global trend forecasting consultancy.
It's very much about that celebrity trying to broaden their horizons. But I think from a consumer point of view, it really reflects the growth of social media, of course, and access to each of these celebrities. Really, the younger consumers in particular are seeking to really connect with their communities, whether it is through social media, whether it is film, TV, sport, but also to feel like they are part of their everyday lives. So alcohol and sort of branded alcohol and also non-alcohol celebrity spirits are a way to bring that community into their lives. So that's why we're seeing huge growth right now. Consumers are trying to bring that celebrity or that celebrity, what that celebrity stands for, into their own world. And I think it goes beyond, it definitely goes beyond just the celebrity. I think what consumers are looking for now is a bit more authenticity. So the celebrity spirits that have longevity are the ones that are good quality. So the ones that get involved with their with the brand and with the process and with the supply chain and the sourcing of the ingredients to create a quality drink, they're the ones that are going to survive rather than just putting a badge on a brand. But then also, as I mentioned, we are very much living in this digital global world. So more global spirits will come into the fore as well. So a couple that we have been talking about is Japanese sake, which is definitely on the rise in the UK. And we've seen Cate Blanchett, for example, do a sake, and Korean soju as well. So it's K-pop, everything K-pop, K-drama is incredibly popular, continues to be popular, and there are several sojus within Korea that are celebrity backed. They haven't quite made it to the UK yet, but that's another one to watch, definitely.
Jennifer Creevy. Although celebrity drink remains a niche category, it's a sector that continues to grow, largely driven by a handful of successful leading brands. Statista predicts that by 2025, the global market size for alcoholic beverages will surpass $2.2 trillion. Alcohol is big money, a fact that hasn't escaped the attention of celebrities and their advisors. Whether celeb drinks are worth your money is another question. The average price for a celebrity spirit is 73% higher than the average drink, according to a US study by hospitality engagement platform Union. But celebrity drinks are aspirational, allowing fans to buy into their favourite stars' lavish lifestyles. They are affordable luxury goods, more attainable than perfumes, watches or handbags, and allow for conspicuous consumption at a fraction of the price. They give fans access to celebrities and offer celebrities another way of accessing the wallets of consumers, as well as an opportunity for them to be part of the romance of the drinks industry. They have been propelled, like so many food and drink trends, to stratospheric new heights by social media algorithms, with studies suggesting that younger consumers are more likely to be influenced by celebrities and more susceptible to brand endorsements than any other age group. These brands have star power aplenty, but their staying power of the dizzying number of celebrity-backed brands available today, Well, that remains to be seen. And while some might sniff at celeb-backed brands, Brad Pitt's Miraval has been voted the most desirable Provence rosé in the world. Kendall Jenner's 818 tequila made sales of $25 million in its first year. And Ryan Reynolds, meanwhile, he's cashed out of Aviation Gin for a cool $610 million. Like or loathe them, celebrity drinks are impossible to ignore on today's market. Our final stop is in Mayfair to meet Dan Keeling, co-owner of Noble Rock Restaurants and Magazine. A former A&R exec and managing director of Island Records, he's no stranger to the motivations of the rich and famous. We started off by tasting a few celebrity wines together.
Musicians and actors and people who have certainly made money in their careers, the successful ones, have obviously toured the world, whether that's filming or they've been, on tour. So one of the great things you can spend your money on in your time is eating out and drinking great wines. So I think if you're kind of into your senses, which obviously a lot of them are, and using your senses for art or any of these other pursuits, then wine lends itself to that quite nicely. So it says Britpop by Alex James.
It's quite peachy. If someone gave me a glass of it, I would drink it. The flavour of it is quite short. I'd say it's not bad. If you were a really big English sparkling drinker, you'd probably be a bit disappointed.
It's not for me. No, I don't. I think it's quite sweet and short. If you're paying £25 for something, you could find something a lot better for cheaper.
So this is Brad Pitt's and once Angelina Jolie's, not quite anymore, but rosé. And I would say it's a beautiful looking thing, isn't it?
Well, it's a good looking. I think there's a lot of dinner tables that would love to have that bottle on it. It fits with a lifestyle, doesn't it?
So let's crack this one open. Dan, what are your thoughts? I quite like that.
Yeah, I think it's the aromas are attractive. It's clean. It's fresh. Got good acidity. The texture's a little bit too thin for me, but I think it's a well-made rosé that a lot of people would like, and for the market that they're aiming at, it's right. I think a lot of celebrity wines can be very successful. People want to feel a link to people that they admire. And by buying Miraval, you've got that connection. You're buying into that kind of dream.
You buy a piece of Brad Pitt.
You buy a piece of Brad Pitt, yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about the time you tasted a range of celebrity wines with Sean Keaveney.
We tasted a range of musicians' wines, and we kind of paired them with the music as well. We started out, I think, with Nicki Minaj's Moscato, which was like fruit juice with a bit of alcohol in it, which didn't go down well. And things got worse and worse. We had Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas. I think that was rock bottom. And funnily enough, I think Cliff Richard's wine from the Algarve, it came out on top, probably because it was the most kind of together. And I leave out Mick Hucknall's wine as well, which got a real beating as well.
Okay, so next, what have we got next?
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg has a wine. Oh, that's sweet. That's almost a dessert wine. Oh,
that is.
I'm sorry, Snoop Dogg. That's not good.
That's like drinking flat cherryade or like flat fizzy drinks. It's kind of more in the fizzy drinks category.
It is,
without the bubbles.
It's almost like, you know what it reminds me of? Like grape juice.
I don't think it's a real wine in terms of a serious wine or a well-made wine. I think it's sweet, it's short. I don't know where they've got the grapes from, but it's not like well-made, well-looked after vineyards. But it has a market. I mean, it's like the Nicki Minaj thing, Moscato, and it's like a fruit juice with alcohol. It's and that is like a fruit juice.
Why do you think we're seeing such an exponential growth in celebrity drinks, especially in the spirits market and wine as well?
There's different reasons for the growth. Obviously, you have people that are buying estates in the south of France or other wine regions that have vineyards, and they're owners of the estate, and they're looking to have another income. But then there's also the more opportunist side of it, and that's the kind of brand endorsement side, which is literally, stick your name onto a bottle that's made by somebody that you probably met once in a meeting that you've been introduced to by, an advisor. And I think that side of it's a bit more cynical. So there's kind of different kinds of celebrity wines. And it's really about the motivation and about the involvement of the celebrity.
So some are in it for the romance and some for the payday.
I think that's right, yeah. Some are in it for the romance, and what could be more romantic than making a Provençal rosé that you're selling around the world and being successful at that? It's a nice thing to do, isn't it?
What drinks have you got on the table? You've very nicely poured some wine for us.
This is a wine and this is kind of going off on a tangent now. So we're talking about winemakers that have become kind of stars in their own right, and that's something that I guess has happened over the last 15 years. People like Pierre Huvenoir or Jean-Francois Ganavat, and these people are kind of fated as almost like mini kind of gods, or high priests of the Jura wine cult, to put it another way. In Burgundy, there was certainly a lot of the winemakers over the last few years have attained this kind of superstar status. And one is Lelou Bees-Loire, whose wines go for thousands of pounds now. She's kind of like known as the Picasso of kind of Burgundian wine. And this is a younger grower called Charles Lachaud. This guy is right at the vanguard of wine in Burgundy, and I would say he is a star in his own right. And we're drinking his entry-level Bourgogne. It's called Pinot Fan.
Absolutely gorgeous. So much depth, like almost rose, blackcurrant, cherry, but all these very wide. Oh, yeah. Delicious. Dan, you always know how to give me a good glass of wine, as I'd expect.
When I drink a wine, I want it to be made by somebody who's a winemaker, who's on top of everything to do with making that wine. I don't want a kind of musician to make that wine, and I wouldn't want the winemaker to write a song most of the time either.
It's true. I want my songs written by musicians and my wine made by winemakers.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
I'm Carlo Gabler. From BBC Radio 4 and the History Podcast, this is Escape from the Maze, the disturbing inside story of the biggest jailbreak in British and Irish history.
It's a major operation. It's no different from an IRA operation outside.
Told by the people who carried it out and the people who tried to stop them.
The staff were terrorised, obviously having difficulty breathing.
It's an escape planned in forensic detail.
It's a need-to-know basis, and if you don't need to know, you don't know.
That creates shockwaves at the heart of government.
It is a very grave incident indeed, the most serious in our prison history.
Find Escape from the Maze on the History Podcast. Listen on BBC Sounds.